The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was subjected to criticism, ridicule, and slander. People created suspicion about his character and his message. So the question is, what was the Prophet's response to such behavior, which we call blasphemy? And what is the Quranic approach to blasphemy? There is a verse in the Quran which tells us that after listening to the Prophet's recitation of the Quran, some people said to him, "He is certainly mad." And the following verse says that yet the Quran is a reminder for all mankind. So this verse does not say that those who disrespect the Prophet should be punished. Rather, it offers logical refutation. It means if you think that the Prophet is indeed mad, then reflect on the prophetic message, which is the Quran. Can a madman devise or impart the wisdom contained in the Quran? The Quranic way to respond to disagreements is by providing intellectual reasoning for one's perspective and not demanding that the critic be eliminated or the critique be censored or banned. Punishment and banning will not help because the objection put forward by the person would still remain unaddressed. So what we call blasphemy is actually difference of opinion, and it invites intellectual discussion. And if we become angry, then we are proving that we don't have strong arguments in favor of our perspective or our point of view. And the Prophet adopted this Quranic principle. In 7th century Arabia, poetry was very famous, and biographers of the Prophet tell us that several people composed poems to ridicule the Prophet. One person came to the Prophet and triumphantly announced, "He is the condemned one. We disobey him, we disagree with his teachings, and we abhor his religion." So what was the Prophet's response to such satire and derision? The Prophet dealt with all of this very creatively. He asked his companion, Hassan ibn Thabit, to compose poems to respond to such disagreements and disapprovals of the Prophet and his message. So the Prophet's way was an idea in return for an idea, a statement in return for a statement. And if today we respond to critique of the Prophet by mindlessly venting fury and employing force at anything that comes our way, then that would be an unwarranted response to a statement or a social media post. And the Quran calls it transgressing one's limits or exceeding one's bounds. And another very prominent Quranic approach to insult is avoidance. The Quran counsels the Prophet, ignore their hurtful talk. This is why we see that the Prophet never made a hue and cry over the inflammatory remarks passed at him. He never said that my sentiments have been hurt. People are pouring scorn at God's Prophet. The Prophet never said any of these things. Rather, he simply avoided. And there is immense wisdom behind this approach, which is expressed in a saying of Hazrat Umar Farooq. He said that falsehood dies by being silent about it. And today this approach needs to be adopted all the more. Prophet's life and sayings have been preserved in books of his biographies and his traditions. So if someone makes a statement about the Prophet, it can always be judged based on the record of his life and sayings. And if this imputation does not find support in the corpus of the Prophet's life and teachings, it would automatically be discarded and stand rejected. So, by being silent about falsehood, we make it lose steam. And someone has very rightly said that scandal ever improves by opposition. So the Prophet was known for being very generous and large-hearted. He forgave people for all the wrongs that they committed against him. There was a person called Abdullah ibn Zibari. He composed powerful poems to ridicule the Prophet. But in the end, the Prophet forgave him. And the Quran says that the Prophet was a mercy to all mankind, which means that he was a person who forgave people in spite of facing atrocities. He remained compassionate toward them, and he accepted people instead of declaring them as others and seeking to destroy them.